The wind howls across Cape Marlowe, tearing at the black cliffs. A colossal radar, the ANFPS-117, stands rooted in the storm, its vast array locked mid-sweep, glinting like the sightless gaze of a sentinel. It's been 96 hours since the grid went dark. The voice belongs to Captain Lara Voss, 34 sharp, disciplined, unshakable. Inside the coastal bunker, blue light flickers across her face. Screens hum with static. Her team of young engineers hover behind her, tired, tense, running on caffeine and fear. "Run it again," she orders. "Every node, every handshake. I want answers before the next satellite sweep." Relays click, fans whir, nothing changes. The radar stays dead. The silence presses in, heavy as the sea itself. Outside, waves crash against the cliffs, slow, rhythmic, almost like a giant holding its breath. The base is blind now, its defense corridor open to the ocean like an unguarded artery. A red warning flares across the main console. Critical system failure. Coastal Sector 7. Lara exhales through her teeth. "If we don't fix this," she mutters, "command will bury the entire project." Then the blast door creaks open. Every head turns. An old man steps in. Denim jeans, weather-worn boots, a plaid shirt and a small leather tool roll in his hand. Elias Mercer, 82. His pale eyes are steady, calm like they've weathered this storm 100 times before. No laptop, no tablet, just presence. Lara crosses her arms. "Command said General Pike would send an expert," she says flatly. Didn't realize they meant a museum exhibit. A few restrained laughs ripple through the room. Eli doesn't flinch. He looks past her, through the reinforced glass, toward the silent radar outside. When he speaks, his voice is gravel-low. "Certain. You've been reading the data," he says. A pause. Maybe it's time to listen to the machine. The laughter dies. Even the servers seem to still. Lara's jaw tightens, but behind her composure, something flickers. Not belief, not fear, just the first spark of doubt. Outside, through the roar of the wind, comes a faint metallic groan as if the radar itself had just answered. "Attention, viewers. This is command, if you're receiving this signal. Report in. Type your location in the comments below and subscribe to stay in the loop." Transmission continues in Part 2. The storm tightens its grip on Cape Marlowe. Rain slashes across the compound, wind shrieking through the radar's steel frame. Inside the bunker, tension hums like static trapped in concrete. Captain Lara Voss moves between the consoles, voice sharp and cutting. "Check the relays again. Cross-reference every signal with the control node." Her team scrambles, fingers racing across keyboards. Data floods the screens clean, precise, and utterly useless. The radar remains dead, a silent giant refusing to stir. In the far corner, Elias Mercer stands motionless, hands folded behind his back. Despite his age, his movements are sure, deliberate, each breath measured, each step balanced, as though the years had learned to move with him. The wind howls outside. Eli tilts his head slightly, sensing something beneath the chaos, a subtle tremor, a deep vibration threading through the floor, without a word. He walks toward the heavy access door. Lara calls out, "That area's restricted. You'll need clearance." He stops just long enough to answer, voice calm, unhurried. "You've got plenty of people watching numbers, but nobody's feeling the structure." The words hang there, soft but defiant. Lieutenant Aaron Chen, young and arrogant, mutters under his breath, "He's going out there in a hurricane with a wrench. Guess we're filming a documentary now." A few uneasy chuckles ripple through the bunker, but they die just as fast. Outside, wind claws at Eli's coat. The rain stings his face, the cold biting into his hands, but he doesn't flinch. He kneels beside the radar's foundation, the storm roaring above him like a living thing. From his leather roll, he pulls a small brass instrument, half tuning fork, half stethoscope polished smooth by years of use. He presses it against the steel and closes his eyes. Lightning flashes. For an instant, he looks carved from the same metal, unyielding, listening to the resonance beneath the storm. Inside, Lara watches through the glass, disbelief flickering across her face. He's... What? Feeling for ghosts, someone whispers. Eli adjusts the tool, filtering through the storm's roar until only one sound remains, a faint, uneven tremor deep below the radar's base. He murmurs, almost to himself. There you are. Lara snaps. Enough. Get him back inside. Two Marines step forward but stop when the lights flicker. The monitors stutter. A low metallic tone ripples through the floor, long, resonant, unmistakably alive. The bunker freezes. Outside, Eli's hand stays on the steel, his face calm, eyes half closed. It's trying to speak, he says quietly. Thunder answers, rolling over the cliffs, and somewhere within the machine's vast heart, a new vibration begins, steady, deliberate, almost human. Rotor blades shred the sky above Cape Marlowe, cutting through sheets of rain. The MH-60 Seahawk drops onto the landing pad outside the radar compound, its lights carving through the storm like blades. The roar rattles the bunker windows. Inside, everything stops. Authority has arrived. The blast doors swing open. General Harlan Pike strides in, soaked, unflinching. Presence like a thunder front in uniform. Each step lands with intent. Behind him, Sergeant Major Miguel Ramirez follows, boots striking like a war drum. Captain Lara Voss snaps to attention. General Pike. Sir, I wasn't informed of your arrival. Pike doesn't answer immediately. His eyes scan the room past the engineers, past the blinking monitors until they find Elias Mercer standing near the access hatch, rain still drying on his flannel shirt. For a moment, Pike just studies him. Then he straightens unconsciously, posture sharpening, voice lowering with quiet respect. Mr. Mercer, he says. Didn't think I'd ever see you again. The engineers exchange confused looks. Lara blinks. Sir, he's a civilian technician. I didn't. Pike lifts a hand enough to silence the room. That civilian kept a firebase alive during the Tay Rong Siege of '69. 6 transport engines frozen solid. He rewired everyone using comm wire and a blowtorch. His tone darkens. Later, he turned a crippled radar into an early warning net that saved 2 platoons before air support ever got there. The air tightens. No one breathes. Rain fades behind the weight of that memory. Pike steps closer to Lara's console, voice low and deliberate. The phased array system you've been troubleshooting for 96 hours, it's based on his old field notes. You're working inside his design. Lara's composure falters for the first time. Her gaze drifts to Eli, just a flicker, but enough. I didn't know, she murmurs. Pike exhales through his nose. Few do. He never wanted credit, just results. Eli's gravel voice breaks the stillness. Machines don't care who built them, he says quietly. They just want to breathe again. The general nods once. Firm, but almost reverent. Then let's get this one breathing. He turns to Lara, tone snapping back to command. You wanted an expert. Now you'll follow his lead. That's an order. For a heartbeat. Silence. Then Lara straightens. Steady, now resolve replacing pride. Yes. Sir. Pike gives a curt nod, then glances toward Eli. Good to have you back in the fight. Mercer, the words aren't formal. They're personal, like an old soldier greeting a ghost who never stopped serving. Eli's eyes soften. Never left. General. Just learned to listen better. Thunder rolls across the cliffs, shaking the walls. Outside, the radar stands drenched and motionless, its massive frame waiting in the dark. Eli looks through the glass, voice low and certain. Let's go hear what it's been trying to tell us. Inside the bunker, a single green light flickers on the console, slow, steady, a pulse returning to life. A single green light pulses in the dark, slow, steady, alive. The radar isn't fully back online, but something deep within it has begun to stir. Rain hammers the bunker roof. Inside, Elias Mercer crouches beside the base of the AN/FPS 117, one hand pressed to its cold steel frame, the other holding a small brass instrument that hums faintly with hidden vibrations. Captain Lara Voss stands nearby, eyes sharp but tired. Curiosity overtaking pride. It's not the software, Eli murmurs. Never was. He unrolls his worn leather kit and lifts the strange device, half tuning fork, half stethoscope. Burnished, smooth by time, it trembles in his grip, resonating with the radar's sleeping heartbeat. Lieutenant Aaron Chen leans toward a colleague. What even is that thing? Eli doesn't look up. Something that listens better than we do. He taps the tool lightly against the frame. A low tone spreads through the bunker, deep, resonant, like thunder trapped inside metal. The vibration lingers, crawling along the concrete walls. Eli tilts his head, tracing it the way a surgeon might feel for a pulse. Then he points to the far wall. There, that's where your ghost lives. Lara frowns. The generator foundation. Eli nods. Perfect structure, wrong resonance. The bedrock under it's carrying a low-frequency oscillation through the frame, just enough to knock your phase transmit modules out of sync. Each cycle drifts the timing loops a fraction, enough to blur the beam. Silence falls. Realization hits like a shockwave. For 96 hours. They've been chasing code errors when the real fault was humming beneath their boots. Lara exhales. So the radar's been jamming itself. Eli's lips twitch in a faint smile. Not broken, just out of tune, with General Pike's sharp nod. The room bursts into motion. Tools replace tablets. Engineers rush to dampen joints, reinforce mounts, rebalance the emitter frame. Sparks flare, boots echo, metal sings as precision overtakes panic. When the last bolt locks, Eli steps back, rainwater still dripping from his sleeves. His voice drops to a quiet certainty. Power it up. Lara gives the order. Switches flip, relays click. A vibration builds beneath their feet low, rising, awake until the massive array above begins to hum, sweeping its invisible beam across the horizon in perfect rhythm. Then contact. A sweep of green cuts across the main console. The radar's rhythm stabilizes. The room erupts in cheers, but Eli doesn't move. His gaze stays locked on the display, brow furrowing. Lara notices. What is it? She asks softly. He listens a moment longer, voice barely above the storm. That frequency. It's not random. She blinks. You mean interference? He shakes his head slowly. No, something patterned, too precise for noise. Outside, thunder rolls across the sea, and beneath it something else answers. Faint, steady, deliberate. A signal, pulsing from the deep. Lara stares at the monitor. the faint trace repeating again and again, almost like a heartbeat trying to be heard. Eli closes his eyes, listening past the static, the storm, the world itself. His whisper is almost lost under the hum. It's calling to something. Thunder swallows the words, but the light on the console keeps flashing steady, steady, like the machine itself is listening back. The storm has passed. Dawn spills across Cape Marlowe, turning the cliffs and sea into molten silver. The great ANFPS 117 stands tall again, its array sweeping the horizon with calm precision. The hum now soft, rhythmic, alive in a quieter way. Inside the mess hall, silence lingers like fog after a long night of battle. The air smells of salt, coffee, and victory that hasn't fully sunk in. The young engineers sit scattered across metal tables, half proud, half humbled, each trying to decide if what they witnessed was science or something older. Captain Lara Voss steps in, 2 mugs in hand. She spots Elias Mercer alone in the corner, shoulders relaxed, eyes distant, as if still tuned to a frequency no one else can hear. She hesitates, then crosses the room. "Mr. Mercer," she says softly, "mind if I join you?" He gestures to the chair beside him, no rank, no formality, just quiet permission. They sit in stillness for a moment. Through the walls, the faint rhythm of the radar seeps in steady, patient, not commanding attention but simply being there. Lara breaks the silence first. "I was wrong about you," she admits. "About the machine. I thought the fault was in the code." Eli smiles faintly, gaze still on the window. Most people do, but machines don't lie. You just have to be quiet long enough to hear what they're saying. She tilts her head, studying him. "How'd you learn that?" He sets his mug down, eyes softening with memory. "When I was 14. I tried fixing my grandfather's old water pump, took it apart 10 times, checked every piece still dead." He walked up, looked once, and flicked a pebble out of the fuel line. It started right up. He chuckles, the sound low and warm. "He told me, being smart means knowing how to take something apart. Being wise means knowing where to listen first." Lara smiles this time, without the edge of command. "You think I'll ever get there?" Eli turns to her, steady and kind. "You already started," he says. "You listened when it mattered." For a while, they just sit. The radar's quiet rhythm fills the room, almost like breathing. Then Lara glances at the monitor above the mess counter, a small auxiliary feed from the radar console. The green sweep moves in perfect rhythm across the grid. But faintly deep under the baseline, there's a flicker, a trace. She leans forward. Is that the same signal? Eli studies it, eyes narrowing slightly. The faint blip repeats soft, patterned, deliberate. Then, just as suddenly, it fades. He exhales. Whatever it was, it's gone now. Lara keeps watching the screen, voice almost a whisper. "You think it was reaching for us?" Eli shakes his head gently. "Maybe not for us," he says. "Maybe just reaching." He rises slow, sure, and moves toward the door. Outside, the morning wind catches his flannel, light glinting off the sea. Each step feels less like leaving, more like returning somewhere unseen. Lara watches him go. Beyond the window, the radar keeps turning, steady and sure. Its pulse feels different now, not just a signal scanning the horizon, but a rhythm she finally understands. She closes her eyes. The sound fills the air soft, human, almost like a heart remembering how to listen. Her voice comes in, quiet and certain. In the end, the machine was never broken. We were just too loud to hear its rhythm. The screen fades to white. Only the quiet pulse remains steady, gentle, like something far beneath the surface still calling back.